What is operant conditioning? First, you need to learn a little bit about classical conditioning. Let's say there is a house, and there is a dog inside the house. And every day, as soon as its owner gets back from work, he feeds the dog. After a while, will the dog start to associate the owner coming home with eating? When the owner opens the door, will the dog suddenly feel hungry? This is the type of stuff that Ivan Pavlov thought about back in the 1890s. However, one day, Ivan decided to do more than just think. He experimented. He found out that the dog would produce more saliva when hearing the door open, confirming that the dog indeed associated the door opening with being fed. Now, with that as a bit of background, let's look at operant conditioning. Imagine the dog in the house. Now, imagine a button on the wall. And also imagine that whenever the button is pressed, food drops out of the roof. At first, the dog will play around the room, but one day, the dog will accidentally press the button and food will drop. The dog is happy. After a while, the dog will start to associate the button with food, and eventually, will learn to press the button to get that food. This is operant conditioning. What makes it different from classical conditioning? In both classical conditioning and operant conditioning, the dog is associating one thing with another. He is associating a stimulus with a response. However, in operant conditioning, the dog chooses when to get the food, so he is taking action on his environment, or operating on it. In classical conditioning, the dog does nothing except wait for his owner to come home. His increase in salivation when he hears his owner coming with the food is not under his conscious control. Now, what is reinforcement? Anything can be used as reinforcement. Reinforcement is whatever is used to get you, or the dog, to do something. Reinforcement might be something nice, for example, receiving a dog biscuit as a reward. This is positive reinforcement. Reinforcement can also be negative, meaning that the dog has to deal with an annoying stimulus that he does not like until he does what the owner wants. Then that negative stimulus will stop. What are some examples of operant conditioning today? Good question. A bad example would be this. A boy walks up to his dad and asks him to get ice cream from the store. The dad says no. The boy then yells at his dad to get it and doesn't stop until his dad finally says he will get ice cream. In this case, the child would have learned that yelling gets him what he wants, and the father would have learned that the child would pester him until he did what his kid wanted. This would be an example of negative conditioning on the father's side but positive conditioning on the child's side. The father did a task to stop his kid from yelling, while the kid yelled to get his dad to get him something that he wanted.